But let's circle back to something we talked about last night, which is the trade focus. I still believe that pass rush and corner is where the Bears should more than likely be looking for a trade. And Jermaine Johnson's name popped up again. It popped up on an ESPN report this morning as a player that I think they picked a player for every team who is most likely not to be on their current team at the trade deadline, which is in a little bit less than 2 weeks right now. And Jermaine Johnson was the guy that was picked for the Jets. And so then they have the potential fits. And the Bears team name came up again with this. This is now, I want to say, the second or third time in the last 24 to 48 hours that an outlet has mentioned the Bears in conjunction with Jermaine Johnson. Still, I always caution people whenever we're talking about these reports. Until you hear Adam Schefter or one of the more respected NFL journalists say, sources have told me the Bears have inquired about a trade. Sources have told me the Jets are shopping Jermaine Johnson and the Bears are a likely suitor. Until you see a report like that, it's not a report like the one we read today, which is cool. I loved it, and it does bring some validity to the conversation, right? But until you hear a report like that from Schefter, Ian Rappaport, Tom Pelissero, somebody on that level, or one of the local people in Chicago or in New York come with that report, do not get to the point where you're thinking, oh, well, yeah, the Bears are talking to the Jets about Jermaine Johnson. No, we can't say that yet. We cannot say that yet. There's nothing that has come out that has validated that the Bears are literally talking to. There's just a lot of people putting two and two together, saying the Bears obviously have need for pass rush. The Jets are horrible. They're 0-7. They should be in sale mode. What valuable player do they have on their roster that they could flip for draft picks? So that brings me to my next thing. I did some research and some digging and some just kind of comparative stuff. If the Bears were going to try to go after Jermaine Johnson, probably they won't be alone. There'll be some other teams that'll be interested. I would imagine the Bears, and a lot of Bears fans are not going to like this, but the Bears might have to come off of a second rounder and a fifth rounder, maybe both in 2026 to pry that away. Now, the Bears could try to protect themselves by having a clause in the contract or in the deal that says that if Jermaine Johnson plays less than whatever amount of games or has less than a few amount of sacks, then that fifth round pick can then de-escalate down to a sixth round pick, or it could be swapped. That could happen. And the reason why the Bears might be interested in doing something like that is because Jermaine Johnson had a serious Achilles injury that cost him literally most of the 2024 season, and he even missed some games to start this season. So far this year, he's played 4 games, feels like he's kind of ramping back up more so. He has 1 sack so far this year. So if that concern is a big deal, and the Bears would be on the hook for his salary as well, which I believe carries, let me see, I'm looking at what we looked up here. His salary is not crazy, right? It runs through 2026, but if they pick up his option year for 2026, I believe it's 13.4 million. So that's not a cheap contract, but it would be a motivator for him to come in 2025 and have to, of course, try to make an impact. But an Achilles injury on an edge rusher is obviously on any football player, honestly. But an Achilles injury on an edge rusher is obviously going to be a big deal. The Bears could work out something with the Jets. Now, this is all hypothetical, I say. The Bears could work out something with the Jets where the Jets absorb some portion of his 2025 salary to kind of lighten that load a bit. The Bears might even be able to negotiate this down and maybe say 3rd and a 4th round pick as opposed to a 2nd and a 5th. That could happen. It really depends on how eager the Jets are to move him, assuming that they are, how thirsty the Bears are to get an edge rusher, which they should be, and how much competition will be out there for Jermaine Johnson services, which you would expect there should be a lot. I mean, you got to consider this dude physically is a stud, and 6'5", 254, 260 pounds in there. With the Florida State, was a first-round pick in 2022. Came out the gate pretty decent. Rookie only had 22.5 sacks, but 2023 he had 7.5 sacks, which really showed like, yeah, we're about to do this. Then he gets the Achilles injury in 2024, which really derailed things. So he's the guy I'm probably most excited about of every name that's been mentioned, with the exception of Jeffrey Simmons. That's a whole different thing. But more recently, he's the guy that I'm the most excited about the potential of grabbing amongst the people that the media has begun to write about more recently. So we'll see how that one shakes out. Again, we got about, I don't know, just under 2 weeks before the trade deadline. So we'll get to that.